In 1587, a group of brave English souls embarked on a perilous journey across the Atlantic. They were headed for Roanoke Island, a strip of land off the coast of what is now North Carolina. These intrepid pioneers carried with them the dreams of a new life and the hopes of establishing a permanent English settlement in this new land. They called it the Roanoke Colony. Led by the resolute John White, the settlers arrived on Roanoke Island. They were eager to build a new life. The island held the promise of fertile land. It beckoned with the opportunity for a fresh start. The colonists set about constructing homes and planting crops, determined to tame the wilderness and create a thriving community. But the New World was not an empty land. Native American tribes had thrived there for centuries. The relationship between the colonists and the indigenous population was complex. At times it was marked by trade and cooperation, but cultural differences and the ever-present fear of the unknown cast a shadow over any potential for lasting peace. Life in the Roanoke colony was far from idyllic. The settlers faced a brutal reality. Food was scarce and the elements were unforgiving. The colonists struggled to cultivate the land. Their supplies dwindled and hunger became a constant threat. Relations with the native tribes grew increasingly strained. The colonists' need for resources clashed with the Native Americans' long-established presence. Suspicion and fear poisoned the interactions between the two groups. Raids and skirmishes became more common, pushing both sides towards open conflict. Faced with these mounting challenges, Governor John White made a fateful decision. He would return to England, his mission to gather much-needed supplies and reinforcements for the struggling colony. White left Roanoke in the capable hands of his people, including his daughter Eleanor and granddaughter Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World. He promised to return as soon as possible. White's journey back to England was fraught with peril. He arrived safely but found his homeland embroiled in a war with Spain. Every ship and able-bodied man was conscripted into service. White's pleas for assistance for the Roanoke colony fell on deaf ears. He was stranded in England, his heart heavy with worry. Years turned into an agonizing wait. White watched as the war with Spain dragged on, consuming England's resources and attention. Each passing season brought fresh anxieties about the fate of the colonists. He clung to the hope that they were persevering, but the lack of any news from Roanoke gnawed at his soul. Finally, in 1590, the war with Spain came to an end. White, his hair now streaked with grey, secured passage on a ship bound for the New World. He carried with him the hopes and fears of all who had loved ones on Roanoke Island. As the ship approached the familiar coastline, White scanned the horizon, searching for any sign of the colony. The silence that greeted John White upon his arrival at Roanoke was deafening. The settlement was deserted. Homes stood empty, their doors hanging open as if hastily abandoned. The colonists' belongings lay scattered, untouched for years. A chill ran down White's spine. Where could they be? The only clue to the colonists' fate was a single word carved into a tree, Croatoan. There was no sign of a struggle, no indication of violence. The carving was the only message, a cryptic whisper left in the wilderness. It was a message that has echoed through the centuries, unanswered and unexplained. The mystery of the lost colony of Roanoke has captivated historians and amateur sleuths for generations. Did the colonists perish at sea? Were they absorbed into a nearby Native American tribe, or did something more sinister befall them? The answers remain elusive. The silence of Roanoke Island endures, a haunting reminder of the fragility of life.